Hello, Pippa Bailey. You're from MMR Research Worldwide, and you're going to be talking at the MRMW Berlin conference, which I'm going to be interviewing at next week. I've invited you to come and have a chat with me and tell me a little bit about what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. We're doing a co-presentation with the Royal Shakespeare Company to do a project with someone in the arts, because I don't think that gets researched that often, or at least we don't see presentations about consumer insight in the arts. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it and sort of sharing some of the things we found.
MMR Research Worldwide. Who are they and what do they do?
Okay, well, we're a global market research company. We specialise in food, drink, personal and household care, so that's our main area of expertise, probably about 95% of the work that we do. We've got offices in the US, in the UK, in China and in Singapore. We're experts, I suppose, in product and packaging research, so we're sort of a full service agency, and we have a philosophy called Brand Phonics, which is all about aligning all the touch points in terms of communication. So whether that be ads, comms, product, pack, every element. So everything we do sort of is underpinned by that, if you like.
And what got you into sort of doing the talk you're going to be doing in Berlin? What was the origins of that? Okay,
well. My role is Innovation Director at MMR, so I'm constantly, rather than looking at innovation in terms of MPD of products, it's more about tools, techniques, modelling approaches, new technology which can help us provide better insights to our clients. And mobile is obviously a huge thing, and we developed our own app a year and a half ago, and we really wanted to, we've done this really nice project with the Royal Shakespeare Company and thought it'd be a great example to share of how mobile can really get different insights, and how it might potentially change or impact the business decisions that they would typically make using more traditional sort of online questionnaires post attendance at performances. So we thought it was a nice example to share.
Okay, how was it applied in terms of the Shakespeare Company?
Typically, the Royal Shakespeare Company, obviously most people know who they are. They have performances. They would typically do an online survey 2 weeks after a performance finished to the people that attended, and to get feedback. And we thought it would be great, when challenged and discussing with Becky at the RSC, how could we use mobile to get better insights, different insights, which would help them make decisions about investment and how to promote future productions and so on. So what we did is we said, let's use the Christmas performance of Wendy and Peter Pan, and let's also try and get some feedback from kids. I mean, they've grown up in a generation where mobile is normal, and they spend all their time on devices, so we thought they would feel very comfortable with it. We did use video and pictures, so we had to get permission from the adults for the kids to use those, but most people were willing, that agreed to take part and downloaded the app. So we split the study into 3 sections. There was 2 weeks before they came to the performance to ask them about their sort of expectations and how they'd heard about it and what they were excited about. We then had a survey which we asked them to complete, within 24 hours of having seen the performance, so either at the break or at the end of the performance or shortly afterwards, to capture what the actual experience was like, and then 2 weeks post attendance to find out what their reflections were, what they thought, having had that space of time afterwards.
What time is it going to be? What day and time, if we want to come and see?
You're going to ask me that, and yes, down. So it's in the afternoon of the first day of the conference, I think, with the second people on after lunch.
Okay, brilliant. And is it the first MRMW conference you've been to? Have you been to them before?
I went to the one in London last year, which was really great. I went with one of our guys from Survey Programming, and some really excellent talks. So really excited that we've got a chance to speak. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing lots of the other presentations as well. So the Givaudan one looked really interesting about using mobile to understand fragrance. They have some apps, so that would be really intriguing to understand what they're going to talk about. But yeah, just looking forward to the 2 days.
Between the last MRW conference and the one that's coming up now, what are the biggest changes in the industry that maybe you're seeing from your point of view?
I think having sort of seen the grit survey and other feedback is that I think agencies are ready to do mobile stuff, but the take-up from clients hasn't been as, given the sort of amount of noise and discussion that's had around mobile, hasn't been as quick as I think the industry would expect or hope it to be. I think it's seeing where it fits in. So I'm hoping that lots of the presentations last time were about global and how you can make mobile work globally, and comparison to more traditional techniques and how you can then take those into mobile. I'm hoping that the discussion's moved on more about sort of specific applications and how it's really changed to get better insight, more sort of valid insight, and some case studies around that. And I think clients are definitely keen, but it's making it very tangible for them how they can fit it in with what they're doing now. But from our perspective, I think mobile is really an added benefit in order not to replace something that we're doing currently necessarily, but to get different insight that sort of links with other techniques we're already using, and also to capture people in the moment. So we do a lot of product testing, which traditionally we ask people to do online at home. So we send them the products and they try them. But it's great if we can use the mobile in addition to that. Say we want you to take a picture of what you made, or to members of your family, to get some box pops, to get that really in the moment. So they don't have to log on to their computer and answer a short survey, but they can capture a few things as they're doing, making, serving up the product, or even choosing it in the supermarket if we've asked them to do a short type stuff.
Mobile has been the next big thing for the past 10 years. So are we getting to the point now where it actually is a big thing, and we're going to start applying those techniques like you mentioned?
Yeah, I hope so. We're seeing a gradual take up, and I think the thing is, mobile is just a tool to engage with consumers. So we need to think about how we can best use it, rather than just we need to use mobile. And it's looking at our clients' needs and saying, well, where could mobile do this better than anything else could, face to face or online. And I think if we can make it tangible for clients, then they're going to be much more keen to take it up and see the benefits that it can bring.
Do you see a difference between online research and then mobile research? Are those things going to become one thing?
This is probably a personal view, but I think I was certainly at MMR in that era where we moved from pen and paper to online, and that was quite a big thing and took time to sort of get the confidence of clients. So I'm not surprised in a way that we're seeing the same thing with mobile, but I think a lot of what we did on pen and paper could easily translate to online, and I think that's one thing. Although online has brought lots of other great developments like market research online communities and bulletin board focus groups, etc., etc. But I think mobile is slightly different than that. We're not looking just to take what we do online and do it on mobile. It's providing a different perspective, if you like, on the consumer, allowing us to get different insights that we can't get so well online, I think. Everyone talks about in the moment, of course, in the moment. When people are out shopping, when they're making choices, where they're actually interacting with products and brands, seeing advertising. I think it can be really powerful there. For diaries, we've had some very different applications in the projects that we've done. So things like we want people to respond as soon as they wake up. They've had a sleep aid or a food and drink product that helps them sleep. So we can send them a push notification as soon as they wake up. How do you feel? How was your night's sleep? Etc. Etc. The RSC, the Royal Shakespeare Company presentation is more about an experiential thing. That's very difficult to capture from a child. With Wendy and Peter Pan, when you're talking about death, how do you put that in an online questionnaire from a parent to a child? Whereas if you ask them to do a video and say, how did you find the performance, what did you do, they naturally talk about the topics that they think are interesting to them or that touch them. So I think it's different. I don't think it's like what you can do online on mobile, although that's being talked about a lot in terms of chunking surveys and sort of thing. That's less of our focus. It's more about how we can use it to get a different dimension and blend that with quant that we're doing in perhaps more traditional ways.
What's your opinion about market research and wearable technology?
Obviously, people, we're used to using sort of mobile eye tracking, so that's not new. And Google Glass can obviously do the videos and have the head-up display and stuff. So there are opportunities. I think we should always start with the client's research needs and challenges and see what tools are around in order to help us do that, rather than having the tools and going, well, what should we do with them, sort of thing. I think there are so many exciting things, and just keeping up with all the blogs and news of technology is a challenge. Yeah, I think there are things, we had a workshop about discussing the future of mobile the other day, and we were talking about those sorts of things. So, it might be GC, so gas chromatography, that people can sort of analyze smells, and so mobile has a massive ability to go wild with heart rate monitors, temperature sensors, even neuro stuff, hardcore neuro stuff potentially in the future. So I think there's masses of opportunity for development in wearable technology, and clothes that tell you how react depending on how hot you are. If that information can be sent to a mobile some way, it would be interesting to know if we were doing work on deodorants, for example, how an understanding about how effective the deodorants were, to get information also on how hot people were during the day and the sort of environments they were in, and that wearable technology can tell us about the ozone levels or the the humidity. That would really help us better understand, and feed that in, and that would be our sort of big data, if you like, in terms of analysing product performance. We're getting all these other metrics, which will help us better understand or interpret, sort of main things we're interested in.
Okay, well that's brilliant. I'll get that video together and fire it over to you, and then hopefully see you in Berlin.
Okay, thanks, Ben.